Hello, and we are off to a strong beginning of a new year. It's Annie Lewis, your favorite wellness coach, nutritionist, and personal trainer. Today's topic is all about the journey of rejuvenation and self-discovery. I feel like this is a good topic to start the year off because the beginning of the year is really a time where you want to go inward to set goals for yourself, whether that's for detoxing, getting your diet on track, especially if you had a very busy holiday season and you are ready to give yourself the prioritization of wellness. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you and go through one of my blogs. Stick around if you want to feel by the end of this video motivated to be a healthier person, get back on track if you've fallen off, or generally fill your mind with some revitalizing context that will put you on a better path for a healthier you. Okay. All right, sharing my screen now. New chapter. So let's go. And welcome, busy bees and seekers of work-life balance. All right, so the fundamentals I'm going to break down for you sooner than later so you have an idea. Okay, balance. I know many people are trying to figure it out and a bit confuzzled about the concept of balance. And basically, balance and green balance is designed for persons who have already made it in life. Many entrepreneurs are not going to agree with the concept of balance. And the reason why is because you have to, at certain points of time in your life, really narrow in and focus on certain goals at a time. So, for many people, the concept of balance will not be relevant for you until you reach a certain level of wealth. That's just the facts, okay? So, if you find that it's hard and you're trying, I might recommend you just try to stick in your lane, in your path of, how you are focusing your time and energy in whatever direction and save the idea of applying balance for when you reach a higher level of success. Because then, only then, will you understand when you have a little more time how to prioritize wellness in that space and time. Or if you are a housewife or an athlete, you'll find relevance in balance because it is more of a lifestyle that you can apply the techniques and habits in those routines and lifestyle circumstances more so than the average person. So I hope you understand that. When I created my green balance, I would say in 2014 was the conceptualization of the brand by Organnick. It was designed for this niche because I learned through interviewing many people through walks of life that a lot of people did not prioritize health and thought it was a waste of time and money. So I really wanted to be able to communicate with those who were able to see the value clearly of a healthy diet and lifestyle, who would want to listen to this sort of conversation and apply the lessons in the most efficient manner to get the best return on that value of investment. All right. So that is why I created such a niche brand early on because I remember, I'll tell you a story before we get into this blog. I grew up in a small island and many people, I don't know if it's all over the world. You can let me know if it was just like a time of life, I guess in the 2000s or 2010s of everyone focusing on like diets and diet trends and is this diet going to be a fad diet and what new diet is coming up, and it was a confuzzled space of diet trends, right? And so many people when would like bring out all this healthy stuff were so brainwashed into the concept of healthy food and healthy eating is not a lifestyle, it's just a trend or a fad or a diet, and diets are not forever. And in my research and studies, I learned that, well, actually, you can have this lifestyle forever, especially if you ground down through the appropriate habits and routines necessary to sustain those habits long term. And that's how we're here today because it's not a trend that just leaves a lifestyle with lifestyle habits of wellness are long-term investments that you will keep up for the rest of your life. And sometimes you might need a little reboot or a little refresh, which is totally normal. However, you know that you will be consistent with healthy habits because you have chosen that as a value system to align with. So if health is one of your values in your life that you like to align with, you are in the right place. So welcome. And I'm so happy to have you here. I hope that you have a nice time in this chat with me and you can apply some of my recommendations to make your life more energized. I'm currently going to be focusing on a glow up as I'm entering my new birthday year coming up, as I am indeed an outlier. If you have not read that book, read that book, Outliers. It is such a good read. Okay. And I'm excited to take you on an inspiring journey into the realm of holistic health. I used to want to do retreats and hold events, but I really do like the online space now and doing virtual calls and this YouTube. So I'm going to continue doing that in this online space. And as the community grows in the future, we will figure out how to have events and bring people together who are interested in this lifestyle. I will always say upfront, definitely book a private consultation with your doctors, trainers, nutritionist before applying any of this information because you want to make sure that you have the right recommendation for your personal goals and medical status. I'm here only as a person that can help you get context and understanding around the topic of health and wellness. And that is how I will play a role in your growth and healthy journey. When I speak, I do speak a little bit from research and from interviewing people using data. So, no, I'm not a perfect person, and I don't speak from a sense of I'm the best and this is what I do, but more so, this is what works based on the data. These are the facts based on hundreds of people I've interviewed and their responses and what I've seen and learned from hanging out with some of the professionals in the world. Okay, so I hope we're clear on that. And okay, new year, new vibe. I hope everybody is energized for a new year. I'm not sure if how you're feeling. Usually people are feeling recharged. In Trinidad, we have a sequence of events that happen. I guess on a global scale, it's a bit different. And each community, country, alliance have their schedule of events that they plan from the beginning of the year straight through to the end of the year. So mostly, if you're an organized person, your flights for the entire year are booked by January, where you know exactly where you're going, who you're meeting with. Everything has been organized in the month of January. Okay, so if there are any last minute things throughout the year, that's usually a sign of lack of organizational skills and planning, or maybe you really are that, what is that word? Spontaneous. However, if you want to be an organized, disciplined person, a good idea from learning from the pros and people who have really organized schedules, lives, families, jobs, everything, all the flights and everything are booked from the January of the beginning of the year. All right. All right. So, and that saves a lot of delays and stresses later on in the year of last minute planning because who really wants to live like that? No offense if you do, but in this community, we do like organization. Okay. So we do explore some of the luxurious destinations in the world that offer rejuvenation because there are retreat centers globally, like Switzerland has some exceptional resorts that people choose in their travel list of places to go for experiences like spa treatments, and you can go and get juices, cleanses, and the focus for many people in health today, if you've already mastered weight loss, the first step you always want to master weight loss, right? And if you have already mastered weight loss, your next step will be in concepts of anti-aging, cell rejuvenation, spas, detoxes, and juicing, fasting, these sorts of concepts, because biohacking, that is your next level of progression. So weight loss is like if you're not at your ideal weight, you always want to start there first. Get to your ideal weight, get your body strong and in peak physical condition, and then you take action steps to the next levels of wellness. So you may think, oh, well, I'm so healthy, I'm fit, I have my dream body, but maybe your energy is off and you're anxious and your your nervous and energy system might need work, for example. So you want to consider these components as well as just like a diet or setting fitness goals. Okay, because a mental diet is also very important. And it's important to be okay with what you feed your mind and body and soul consciously versus unconsciously, saying no to what's irrelevant or unacceptable and yes to what feeds you and makes you thrive. Okay, because you really want to prioritize experiences that energize you more so than drain you, that help you to thrive, not just survive, okay? And the concept that we are moving towards in my green balance is not just about surviving, like I will survive, but more so I will thrive, okay? I will thrive. And what is thrive? What is the concept of thrive? Have you considered what would your life look like if you were thriving? Like, what is different from how you show up in the world? What do you put in your body? What do you put in your mind? That's a difference, a clear differentiating concept of surviving in relation to thriving. And I want you to be able to see that clearly. Maybe get a pen and paper, write a list down so you can see the contrast of what your life looks like when you're thriving versus what it looks like when you're surviving. And it could even just be psychological, right? I remember one of my favorite online psychologists. Oh God, I would love to remember her name. When I remember it, I'll think about it. I think it's like Maria or something. I'll have to get her name, and maybe I'll put any link below. But she has a concept that what we think in our internal thought world has such a big impact on our external world that it's very important that you even have an internal conversation that speaks a language less like I can't cope, or I'm barely surviving, or, these kind of concepts or constructs that are almost limiting to I am capable. Anything that comes my way, I will handle it. I'm ready to receive X, Y, and Z. So you can see the difference of the internal thoughts and how that projects into the real world. Because what tends to happen is with a limited belief system, not only does that impact your perception of reality and how you go about your day to day, but you can also be limited to a scope of the world that may be inviting you to thrive, that your mind won't even allow you to conceptualize because your conditioning is stuck so much in surviving. Does that make sense? So that's something to look at, journal through it. I always recommend pen to paper, take notes, that sort of stuff. And you really want to focus on ideas that nourish your body, mind, and soul and lead to enhanced performance in all aspects of life. Okay, so if you are in the category where work-life balance is relevant for you, cool. You want to think of embracing the power of balance. Picture yourself amidst the daily hustle and bustle, and then laugh as we delve into the importance of work-life balance. Discover how a well-balanced life can enhance your overall well-being and performance in both personal and professional spheres. The power of taking breaks. I am a huge fan of taking breaks, and it is a concept that if you look at the 12 months of the year in the calendar, you might have a few months where you are running a marathon or you're sprinting or you're doing like a Tour de France bike race, psychologically speaking, in terms of like sports psychology. And you will need to recover just as hard as you train. So, for example, if you are training really hard and then you also want to book trips to rest really hard or prioritize time to recharge, whether that's going to a getaway or being at the beach or whatever helps you recharge, you want to learn your personal body metrics of what makes you feel rejuvenated and recharged and prioritize that as much as you prioritize working hard. And let's see, let's explore these brief respites. Oh gosh, I don't even think I know what that word is. That can rejuvenate your mind, fuel creativity, and ultimately lead to improved performance and productivity in the long run. All right, holistic retreats. So I used to be big into retreats. I'm not really into them anymore for several reasons. And I like the concept of setting up a home space that has a retreat-like feel. So like a home retreat versus having to go to like a destination retreat, right? I like the idea of going to destinations to travel and spa, but not so much like group retreats anymore. Maybe that was a phase in my life that I did once. Okay, so respites means a short period of rest or relief from something difficult or unpleasant. So that is what we are exploring now, how these brief um, revitalization methods can work for you. And when it comes to busy professionals, you're juggling deadlines, meetings, and family life most of the time. If you're an executive who's happily married and stable in your life and work with kids, and you are also, prioritizing showing up at work, having the right energy, and being able to be emotionally available for the people who need you, and stay on top of things and take action and be one of those kind of masculine constructs, if you're a male that gets stuff done, it is important to take time to gain perspective, recharge, and spend that quality time with your family before going straight back into work when the kids at school and so forth. And it's important to have healthy stress management skills and techniques and to be able to come home from a day of work, totally disconnect from that world and be present with your family. And on the flip side, for the housewives and the moms, then it's important that you also consider what makes you feel recharged when you're pouring so much into the children, school pickups, organizing their schedules, your schedule, and then also feeling energized and feminine as yourself to avoid burnout. Because I mean, I've only babysat a few times, but I have seen so many moms, and when the kids want the mom, it's like so demanding of a person, like all these people wanting one person as a woman. And I just look and learn and take notes, and I'm like, oh my God, y'all are super moms. Obviously, I'm not a parent, so I don't speak from first-hand experience, just from hanging out with all the moms and learning from them for my time when it comes in the future. But what I learned is the ones who are like the happiest and in the happiest marriages and thriving all do a few things like prioritize their fitness, wellness, healthy diets, routines, very strict routines, and very organized planning and have date nights like 2 to 3 times a week so that the couple prioritizes themselves and then the career and then the kids, etc. So you can call that work-life balance if you want to, because I have seen many people totally just disregard their families and just work, 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 work. And that is not a concept of work-life balance. So I hope you can see the difference of being so obsessed with work that you totally ignore all personal relations and family to work like longer hours, longer days, or spend time doing anything that doesn't keep you in the present moment with your family. So that is a difference between what a work-life balance looks like versus someone who is just solely focused on work and nobody else. Okay. So ambitious entrepreneurs, for example, laugh with delight as they embrace ambitious spirit of entrepreneurs and the desire for continuous growth. So, if you're an ambitious entrepreneur and you're like delaying marriage and you're just focusing only on your career and being a bachelor and whatnot, then retreats might be good for you, but it might also be better for you to just have a normal fitness routine and a meditation schedule so that, and like spend time in nature because what tends to happen is you can just book a destination getaway out of your comfort zone, whether it's in a villa or a hotel or a down the islands place or in the forest or in a mountain or go on a hike or go to some getaway place that will give you time and space to be in nature and generate fresh ideas. Because if you are that ambitious entrepreneur, you're going to need that quiet time to clear your thoughts and organize your thoughts, and then take those thoughts and strategically lay them out for precise execution, as well as space to allow you to note whether you will need to focus on innovation, for example. And it gives you a clear picture mentally to see where you're at, where you're going, what needs to be done. So, like that time and space away from the everyday routine to have those breaks. As a professional coach, I highly recommend it as necessary. Not only does it ground and recharge your soul and body, it gives you clarity to perform better and allow you to jump to new levels. From my learning from hanging out with many ambitious entrepreneurs and coaching them in my Green Balance community. So there is a transformative power of holistic wellness. We do believe in the glow up. So transformations are our specialty. You can always see like people who start working with us, what they are like before and after. Like you can see the drastic transformations, and that lights me up as a coach because it's exciting. I mean, who doesn't want to see a normal person come to you, whether you're overweight or you want to make more money in your business or you want to have a more fruitful relationship or you want to have a better sex life in your marriage or you want to have more energy for work or you want to be more productive or you want to figure out how to delegate or learn different skills, public speaking, communications, that sort of thing. Like if you come as like level 1, 0, and then you get to work with a coach like myself that can take you to like level 10, step by step. You go to level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10. You will see it's an interesting process, but the end result is always like so noticeable. You can see it so clearly, and it's exciting. And that is what intrinsically motivates people as humans. People ask me, Anik, all the time, how do you stay motivated to do all these goals? And sorry, one of my nieces came over and I have a little cough. All right. How do you stay motivated to do all these goals? And the truth is, when you see and record yourself from where you start and how you go, that motivates a person because you can see the transformation that it becomes so addictive. that you get so drawn to, wow, look how much better I am now than I was 4 years ago. Wow, look how much better I am now than I was 10 years ago. Wow, look how much. And you can see the body transforms, the mind transforms. And these are the things that keep us motivated as humans. And that's why we support growth so much, because you can always stay the same in life, which is cool. However, I also recommend as a couple, if you're going to grow, you do want to communicate so frequently that every time each of you are growing, you're growing together. So it's intertwining like this. Because the worst thing is growing and you're growing apart without communication in your own worlds. So if you don't have the communication skills to set up to regularly communicate in your family and partnerships, it's obvious that you're going to end up on different pages when nobody feels fulfilled in the relationship. And what you will want to know is that this relationship is there to last you till the end of your life, given you have a value system that is traditional, that you see success as the number of years you're happily and monogamously married. So some people, like myself, consider, and in my community and value system, success, a part of success is how many years you are married to the same person, and the more years, the more success as a success milestone. So, for example, if that's one of your goals, then you want to make sure you have the foundation set in place in a healthy, stable way to support regular communication where the growth is interdependent and flows together more so than it flows and goes in all sorts of different directions. And then you lost, the updates and it's like, well, where are you? So like to avoid confusion, you always want to be regularly communicating, checking in, and growing together, right? So now is a good time as we ground down through the beginning of the year. The January time is quite a grounding time of the year. You ground ideas, you ground concepts, routines, everyone's back to school, sort of flow of life. That's what is happening globally in careers and universities alike. And letting go of stress is good, or finding ways if you are a university student, for example, and you want to excel and get really good grades this semester. You want to make sure you have your schedule organized, you're prioritizing your workout, your meal prep, and you're prioritizing your library study hours so that you can show up, get good grades, and feel proud of yourself by the end of the year or the semester. You want to find balance. It's a little easier for students maybe to find balance here because you have a lot more like health clubs and universities and really good opportunity to get a great network and group of friends that you can have for life. Whether you play sports or you're into another sort of nerdy activity or hobby, like languages or music or whatever people are into. I would love actually like a research list of like what people are doing in sororities and universities in their clubs, because I feel like it changes all the time. Yeah, and then ignite a spark of self-awareness within. That's always going to be important because you want to be able to identify what makes you feel good after you take action and what makes you feel yucky. And the more things and activities that make you feel good and proud of yourself is the more you should lean into taking more of those steps in that direction, more so than spending time with people who make you feel yucky or environments that make you feel yucky or circumstances. So your main goal in building self-awareness, whether it's a diet, like let's say you keep eating this food and feeling yucky, then that's a sign as you strengthen that self-awareness muscle within yourself to prioritize consuming nutrients that make you feel glowy and thriving and energized and peaceful and grounded, for example, or energized if you need to go work out or give you results that you want to see, for example, right? So a lot of athletes and Olympians, like they are either in a training season of their lives or they're in a rest season. And usually the lifestyles are too different spheres or experiences of life. when interviewing Olympic athletes, it's so different to see training season and off season. And I like to see that in the off season they rest well to recover, kind of analyze the game from the previous years, see where there's room to, because a lot of sport psychology is required to reflect, to learn, and then you apply that learning knowledge to doing better in the next season. That's how that concept works. So I never judge anybody or put people down for resting or rejuvenating because you know when it's on season you're on, and but when it's off season you might be off. Even though there are concepts of active recovery, which could mean instead of pushing a full hour lifting heavy weights in the gym, you might just go for a walk for 30 minutes and two dumbbells as active recovery instead of being completely sedentary, or you might try Pilates, so there's no need to excessively push our bodies to places of injury or to a point of no return, for example, from my perspective. And you want to find benefits for your work and life. So think of a new, renewed you, okay? It's always a renewed you, a revitalized you. You can build that from internally. What thoughts are holding me back? Are there thought patterns that I see and witness myself experiencing that I want to remove? Are there concepts that I want to plant? Do I want to plant seeds? I always ask my clients, do you want to plant seeds in your mind that have good thoughts and good intentions so that in the next 4 years, you're noticing that you have a natural cognitive bias towards thoughts that are working for your neuroplasticity, that are working for your healthy habits, that tell you, I may not want to exercise all the time, but I love exercising, how it makes me feel after, because I love shopping and fitting in my clothes, and I love being slim, and I love the effects of exercising. So you can see the difference in how that thought pattern and communication concept works and exists in contrast to the flip side of the latter. Performance reimagined. Laugh at the notion of improved performance, not only in your professional endeavors, but also in your personal life. Discover how enhanced focus, creativity, and emotional well-being can lead to greater achievements and content. Nurturing relationships. You want to laugh with joy as you reconnect with your loved ones after rejuvenating experiences, embrace newfound sense of presence and balance, strengthening the bonds that truly matter to you. So it's important that you identify what bonds in your life are very important to you that make you feel fulfilled and healthy and loved and successful, and what bonds maybe are not meant to be in that um, stage of life that maybe have gotten there by accident. So you want to be clear on your boundaries of what you like in your environment that makes you want to thrive and what you don't like and you want less of that you can remove. For example, I always recommend any client that wants to work with me, we go through a fridge detox. So we will go through your fridge. I will look at all of the ingredients in the shelves and also in your pantry. And I do this virtually and in person. And I look at all the ingredients and all the labels and I say, trash that, trash that, trash that. Don't ever buy that again. And then I also say, okay, well, these are good. You're doing this very well. And then I recommend, and you will also love these products because these products also could be a good replacement for all that trash and also support your goals. So sometimes you need that coach to have that eyesight to say, don't buy that junk. It's not good, and you don't want that in your house, in your fridge or your cupboard. It's not good for you. And then you want someone to say, well, what do I buy? Well, we can tell you what to buy based on your goals. And you may already be doing stuff that works well, that we agree with, that will say, keep that up, keep doing that, keep doing this, whatever. You know what I mean? Okay. And when it comes to self-care, you want to picture yourself enveloped in this soothing embrace of wellness. You want to think of laughter as medicine, okay? Many people are depressed in the world and sick, very sick. So remember, the number one reason for death in the world is heart disease and cardiovascular disease. If you can find ways to laugh a little bit more, share that bond of happiness with people, you will notice a healthier life and a healthier body and a healthier mind. It's very important to prioritize that. Yes, it's important to be serious in life and not take things too seriously sometimes, but you have to know time and place, and you want to maybe work on your self-awareness skills to understand when is it a good time to have a giggle and laugh, and when is it a time to be serious. Similarly with work hard, play hard, vacation time, work time. You want to have clear boundaries and differentiations of when you're chilling and resting and hanging out or when you're working and you're serious. And you want to also clearly communicate that to your community. When I'm on vacation, do not bother me. Don't interrupt me. Don't come to me with any sort of, X, Y, and Z. You have your own boundaries. When I'm at work, I'm at work. And that's the story. And that is the only way to protect those boundaries so that you can keep doing what you do, keep showing up the way you show up and doing it well. There are different destinations around the world. I have chatted with people who like traveling for destination retreats, and I've seen people go to like boxing retreats and Pilates and yoga retreats, and they're all over the world popping up in all these centers. Personally, it's not my style, but I understand why people do it. And maybe it's not my style because I've already been to a few retreats that it's not really an interest of mine anymore. But I do recommend people do it because I can see the value. I'm grateful we live on an island that feels like a retreat a lot of the time. So we just kind of book local experiences, and that's okay. I like meeting new people, but to a degree. I've met so many people. I've traveled so much already. All right. So think of if it's something you do want to try, set an intention that you want to learn personal growth and connect with people. So there are places like Bali, there's boxing there, Indonesia, there's an island paradise, a lot of fitness people are there, tropical jungles, meditation, healing practices. They say it's a land of goddesses. And a lot of women go there for its healing practices who need that feminine healing because a lot of women who work in corporate end up carrying such masculine traits that they find it's hard for them to soften into femininity. And then that goes with people who are scared to have emotions and think emotions are weakness. So it's really about people who don't understand where emotion is actually a strength, where vulnerability is a strength, and where femininity is a gift, and where it's important to nurture the femininity as we are women and to sit in our feminine roles, in our femininity, accepting to do feminine roles around the home. And that's also healthy for our hormones. So people may go to these locations to learn and be immersed in these environments. And that's probably what they need to do to understand the concepts. I have a friend who's been in the Himalayas, went to go become a yoga teacher. They love India up in the Himalayas. And we do breath work, and it's like he has me sit with him and like breathe like that. Do all this like funny breath work, these yogis. Um, all the Himalayan peaks, and that is great because there are ancient traditions up there that blend seamlessly with modern wellness practices. And I love India so much for that because I got into yoga and because it's the medicinal properties, Eastern medicine is very interesting to me. And spirituality is a concept of health and wellness. So it's different to religion. Religion exists as a value-based system that people have, which is fine and separate. Okay, each person has that they follow. But spirituality is a point of wellness that really delves into like breath work, mindset, and flexibility because moving the body and understanding how to move and stretch the body to reduce injuries and improve circulation, oxygen flow, um, stress management, and so forth is are all extremely great practices, and it helps with things like how to eat healthier. You'd be surprised that prioritizing learning these breathwork practices impact the concept of intuitive eating and eating a healthy diet, for example. And I mean, I don't know if I would ever make it there in the Himalayas. I don't know if that's my style, but I'm happy to interview the people who do it. Like, come back and share all your knowledge with me, and you can train me here, but enjoy your mountain snow peak kind of thing. That's my personality, right? And uh, and so far so good. Came back with some good stuff. That breathwork practice is fantastic. So breath work, if you don't have that as a habit or routine, so maybe you're still in the weight loss phase. If you have mastered your weight loss phase and you're ready for new concepts of wellness, you may be ready to apply a concept other after like detoxes of like breath work, for example. I also recommend journaling and movement as medicine and Pilates. I love Pilates for the similar impact of strength and flexibility training. And Sedona, Arizona, there are many retreat centers there. I feel like it's kind of desert-like there. So it's like an oasis, and they're very much into their crystal healing, their meditation, all the chakras. The chakras to me are interesting because our human bodies do have an energy system, and it is important to understand that food is energy. And when it comes to what foods give the right energy and vibration to our human body, it's important to understand these concepts for stress management, etc. And it's different to the normal pharmaceutical industry, which is good for medical practices and to fix people's blood and cholesterol and all these pharmaceuticals are good and we need that. However, we also need these practices for at home every day taking care of the body. So it's like body management of like our physique. It's important to understand the concepts of how to care for a human body in a way that the body can stay agile and flexible into the later years of into your 90s and 100s. God granted that that is your destiny to live to that time frame. Costa Rica is a popular choice. Many people go to the Costa Ricas, the rainforest, the hot springs, the volcanic hot springs, etc. And people love it. Lush greenery, it's booming. South America has a lot of that ecotourism stuff if you're into that. Sustainable wellness practices, reconnecting with nature. That is a topic for people who are into that. I used to be into that big time. Like 10 years ago, it was a theme for me. I was really into that. And I did my time. I think every human life probably needs a time in their life to focus on that. If I'm being reflective and pulling from my own reflections to communicate, I think it's important to understand the value of it in nature time and nature immersion. However, there are different styles of nature immersion that may be suitable for one personality more so than another. And so it's important to look at all the different types of nature immersions that exist and to determine, well, would I like that? Would I find value in that? Would that recharge me the way I need to be recharged kind of thing? And then you decide yes or no. And then we got Barbados, reconnecting with your body and hearts. Barbados and the tropical islands. We love our islands, walking on the beaches, bird watching, sitting with the breeze. There's nothing like sitting on the East Coast with like just breeze and rough waves, just cleansing your whole aura and atmosphere. And then you go to the West Coast and you sit on the beach and you could snorkel and swim with the turtles. And Trinidad, you could go on boat rides with dolphins. And there's a concept I actually learned from a PhD, and we were talking about walking meditations and the concept of walking with pets, like dogs, cats, horses, that have very healing stress management like impact on a human's body, mind, soul, spirit. Especially if you have a high stress life or people demand a lot of you, you will need that recharging time to, that's how you get recharged, basically. When the world demands a lot of you and you have to give a lot, you also need space to receive a lot. Nourishing with some of the healthiest foods. Barbados, I will say their menu has been so refined. That's one of the best menus I've seen created ever, and I've traveled a lot in terms of health, wellness, and availability of specialty diets. Nutritionists design meals that some of the best chefs from around the world, Monaco, California, the vegan chefs, have come in to the island and designed exquisite menus and menu pairings. I highly recommend visiting Barbados for that. And they have the contrast of the east, the west, the north, the south to really get a wellness recharge experience if you do it properly. I've seen some tourists just go get beach days and drink rum punch all day, which if that's your vibe, I get it. However, if you are overweight and sick, then I might recommend you take a different path to experiencing the same location. And then massages, Pilates classes, and then there's lots of great views. So even just like having a nice view is very therapeutic. Nourish your body. There are many farm to table cuisines. We like farm to table and halal style practices because we understand how the animal is raised and nurtured before slaughtered and then consumed. And other, like a vegan might not be able to stomach this conversation. And some people don't care, right, about organic and sustainable farming. However, the more educated in wellness you are, the more mindful you do become about where your ingredients are being grown, who the farmers are, what diet are they eating, and how does that impact your absorption as a human from the nutritional perspective. And therefore, you want to be able to know that your body's absorbing everything at its best capacity and quantity to retain all the nutrients required and recommended so that you can feel healthier and your cells can be rejuvenated. Furthermore, if your goals are concepts like anti-aging, it gets more exciting on those other tiers after you mastered your weight goals. So you always want to focus weight goals first, and then you could kind of take it to other levels after. You don't really want to try to go too far up in the organic world and try to be all perfect of, oh, I'm going to get all these high-end supplements because all the natural doctors say don't eat from a can and don't do this and only eat grass-fed this and only like first you want to lose weight first and then you could go into that unless you have like big budgets and you're just ready to spend and stuff. I mean, you could do it that way. However, if you want to start simple, you always want to start weight loss first, and then you build your way up to the organic, grass-fed level of consumption, for example, in the organic world. Mindfulness and meditation is always really good because it does combine the concepts of yin and yang, and you need that yin and yang in wellness and through life. You always want to be able to identify if you could yang, you need yin. If you need to yin, there will be times you need to yang, and you need that harmonious balance to understand a healthy life and to understand when to go hard, when to soften, when it's soft, when to go hard. And so you kind of move through that flow. That's what we recommend. All right, so that's that. Congratulations for sticking it through our chat. This may spark some great ideas for you for the year. I'm glad that you're here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you love this chat. If you feel like it could motivate someone, share it with them. And with every step, you're going to nourish your body, soothe your mind, and ignite the spark of self-awareness within. Because what you are observing is what you will be consuming. So you want to be mindful that what you're consuming is aligned with what you truly, really want, more so than a moment of satiation that will not last. Okay? And you will always fall back on your systems and habits. So be mindful to really elevate your systems and practices this year if you have not already done that. I can go into some products in the future that I'm buying in terms of wellness technology that I recommend. Again, you can always do your own research and find different product reviews, but it's so much more exciting to buy a product and have somebody direct you on how to use it versus just being a blind consumer. So many people buy so much junk on this planet and have a hoarding complex and clutter and chaos. And to me, it makes no practical sense because that is so annoying. And I think that we need to fix that in the world because there's so many products on the market that you really want to know what's good and what to buy and not waste your time and your money. And the more clear we are with reviews and recommendations and understanding this works, this is how to use this product, all humans will benefit from that. You know what I mean? And there's so many products on the market and so many upcoming products and competing products. But it reminds me of those days when the Motorola phones came out. And then there was the Nokias and early days on the phones. And it's like, well, what device is actually going to work the best until Apple came out and then Apple dominated for a long time. But Motorola was hanging on this strong still for quite a while. And then they got the Samsung, and then there's the Samsung people who swear by the Samsung, and then they have the Dell people who swear by the Dell computers and those devices, and then they have the Apple people who swear by the Apple devices and who need that type of device. So understanding consumer behavior is great. It's a great tool for you, but also for businesses. If you're a business owner, for example, maybe consider this year explaining your products in a way that really allows each consumer to maximize value from applying the product into their lives and understanding how best to use the product for the desired result. For example, if humans have 10 problems that they want to solve and they're buying your product, you better be giving 10 reasons why your product is going to solve those problems and how to use it properly. Okay? Because it's just cheap to make products that people buy that A, don't work, B, don't have proper directions, and C, don't have proper reviews on getting the results you want. So do better, everybody. And customer experience is very important because you really want to know that when you're selling a product, people are coming back to buy more and they want more. And if you need to scale and you need infrastructure, you need people to also invest because people are demanding a product that is a great product that requires a strong team to take it to the next level. Okay? And I hope that this year we can all see enhanced performance and seeing more of us living life to the fullest. Until then, I'm Anik. It's been an absolute wonderful pleasure afternoon chatting wellness with you. It is one of my favorite topics ever. And I really enjoy having this YouTube channel. It's been one of my dreams for the last 8 years. I've thought, wow, if only I can have a YouTube channel and talk about health and educate people on health and wellness and have these tools available for people around the world. I'm still growing. I only have a few subscribers. And this is kind of like my vlog style, also my virtual office that I made from COVID that I really enjoy. All of my um, accomplishments. I feel like editing it and putting some more of my degrees. I have so many more degrees and certifications. Oh my God, I saw something the other day that was like, my birthday is such a special day. I even got a certificate for it. I just thought that was so funny. Oh my gosh. Okay. I know. My jokes are interesting. All right, so that's that. And I will chat with you soon. Woohoo! Have a good year.